one and all, welcome to Seen Through Glass and welcome to Scotland. You join me here for the UK launch or celebration of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifolio. You may remember that early this year I drove one of these cars here in the UK, but it was a left-hand drive example. Finally, the right-hand drive cars are here in Britain. Now, I'm going to be joining Miss Emma Walsh as she experiences this car for the very first time, but selfishly, she's gone for a helicopter ride first, and I hate helicopters, so I said, no thank you, I'll stay here and get some shots of the car and the beautiful scenery first. Now, you might be thinking, Sam, you've already driven this car, why are you having another go? Well, firstly, it's always good to drive a right-hand drive car in a right-hand drive country, so I might understand it a little better second time round, but also, I've just finished the My Next Car series, where I announced that the 911T will be the car I'll be using for the majority of Drive the World. However, in almost every single test drive video I did, the majority of the comments said that I should be considering this, the Stelvio Quadrifolio. So in today's video, I'm going to capture Emma's reactions as she gets behind the wheel of the Stelvio for the very first time, but also dissect why I didn't consider this car or end up choosing this car. Miss Emma Walsh!
Hello!
When was the last time you were on the channel?
Sam, it's been a very long time.
Cape Town.
Cape Town was the last time. That was...
Beginning of this year, like February this year?
Yeah.
Wow!
Please excuse me while I just...
Oh, yeah.
If you could just give me a little hand
Is
there.
that all right?
Perfect, yeah. How do I make it go up?
Well, these are the very fancy carbon fibre racing seats, which I didn't have when I test drove the car earlier in the year, but they are electric. That's all right. I thought they were going to be pretty
not
fixed.
Electric on the front back vibes.
Yeah, they look cool. I have to say, they look cool from the back. I mean, a lot of exposed carbon fibre.
Oh, I'm pleased about the steering wheel.
Why?
Look how small it is. Do you not remember when we were in the Abath? And the steering wheel was a size.
Huge.
Yeah.
You couldn't hold it because you're a very
Couldn't
small
hold
person.
Right.
I mentioned in the intro of this video that Emma hadn't driven a Stelvio before. That is incorrect. You have driven the standard Stelvio.
The standard Stelvio.
Just not the Quadrifolio.
Yes, correct.
Can you
Si.
pronounce that?
Quadrifolio.
Well done! That's the hardest thing about this car is its name. Quadrifolio.
Quadrifolio.
So anyway,
Right.
well, I'm excited for you because you haven't driven the Giulia Quadrifolio either, so you haven't experienced this engine basically, which
Not at
is
all.
a masterpiece.
Yes.
Feel free to start it up.
Start it up. Start buttons on the steering wheel, which is... Oh.
Oi, oi.
Oh, it's a bit
Oi,
cheeky.
oi. So anyway, let's pull away now.
Okay.
And then once we get onto the open mode and you've kind of started to figure out the car a bit,
Yeah.
I'll get the camera and I'm going to start to ask you some of your initial thoughts.
Perfect.
Is that all right?
Yep, definitely.
Okay.
Right.
Tally-ho!
Tally-ho!
Do you want me to reel off some stats for you?
Reel it off.
Okay, so we are talking about the 2.9 litre V6 bi-turbo, which was in the Giulia, which, let's face it, is effectively made by Ferrari. It's not officially supposed to be an Alfa Romeo engine, but it's effectively a Ferrari engine, which we might see in the 488 replacement.
Ooh.
Hello!
Hello!
If you want to hear it, you can put it into dynamic mode.
Let's do that. Where I can't see where it is though. You do it.
Down there. And then you
Very
can start,
small, windy
and
roads,
then I'll
right.
put you in the paddles, I'll put you in manual. I've literally I'm so sorry, that was really controlling of me.
You're so controlling.
But I need it for the video, so start going through the gears. Now, this is where we start to get silly, because we are talking about 510 horsepower
Whoa!
and 600 newton meters of torque. And I think this particular
That's
car has
silly.
the carbon ceramic brakes on it as well, which is good, because these are very windy roads, quite excitingly windy roads.
You're like, do the brakes work?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It's been a while since I've been in the
Can
car
you
with
reach
you,
the
Emma.
brakes is more.
That was
what
it.
you
I was
should
like,
be asking.
okay.
Yeah.
0 to 60 is 3.8 seconds, which is quicker than the Giulia because of the four-wheel drive, the Q4 four-wheel drive systems. I think that's enough for the
That.
crib sheets now.
Did I pass?
Neither of us run those kind of channels, do we? Let's face
Yay!
it. We're all about the experience and the emotion.
Absolutely.
So, do you have any expectations for this car?
I mean, only because people have said it's the fastest SUV. I've driven a lot, like a few other SUVs as well, but I mean, we'll test it properly when we get off these very narrow,
Very small
very
roads.
narrow, small roads.
Yes.
But first impressions already is it sounds sick, and just, I mean, mean, that.
One of the big problems with this car is because it hasn't really hit UK shores yet, people haven't really had a chance to get their hands on it, expectations are extremely high.
Yeah.
Because all that gets written about it is it's the world's fastest SUV. So I think going into it, you expect it to be like nothing you've ever driven before.
Yeah.
But you're going to find that out in due time. I don't want to influence you too much. Oh wait, tunnel! Do it, Emma! I feel like you messed that up slightly.
I feel like that was a little bit delayed.
A little bit delayed. But anyway,
I don't know what you're doing. I thought you were jumping out the window. You're gone.
We are getting to a bigger, wider road now, so we can do you can do a big acceleration here once it's
Fabulous.
safe to do so.
Obviously,
God.
safety first.
Check both ways.
Check. This is my driving test after all. Indicator, yes, please. Okay.
Go for it. Launch it.
That back a little bit.
I'm double the size of you, literally. As picturesque as this dam is, it's so cold!
It's so cold.
Scotland, what is going on?
Scotland
in November. Oh, the accents really aren't working out for us today.
So bad.
Anyway, I've wrestled the controls away from Emma because I'm keen to experience this car again. Okay, that's going to annoy me. Let's get out of this tight spot quickly first. But yes, I do remember really liking this car and thinking it was mega, but there was something kind of missing about it, and I'm trying to remember what that was because from the passenger seat and even standing outside it as it blasts past me, driven by Emma, it's just mega. It's just looking and sounding and feeling mega. So what was it that I didn't really gel with? Who knows? Anyway, we're going to try and remember by going on a bit of a jaunt. What I love is that Alfa have some standard Stelvio sort of support cars lurking around. There's one right there. I'm sort of keeping an eye on us. I think they realise that we're looking like we have no idea what we're doing with our lives. So every time we go off track or try and find somewhere beautiful to film, they suddenly appear. Yeah, they suddenly appear. Go, guys.
Hey guys.
Hold on a second. One thing which I had forgotten.
All right.
Yeah, is firstly there are a ton of safety features on this car, which come from the Chrysler part of the Fiat Chrysler Automobile Group, that are a little bit invasive. But it's not that big, this car, is it?
No, I was just saying it's like a small version of an SUV. I mean, anything for me feels bigger than what I am. So.
Well, yes, because you're small, so everything, even a Fiat 500 feels massive to you. But it's probably Audi Q5, BMW X3 territory rather than anything bigger, which is a bit odd because a lot of the other big, sporty performance SUVs, Bentayga, Range Rover Sport, huge. A bit of a jump here.
As if you tried to remember that.
Try to. Does it not make you feel like you want to be a bit leery, this car, though?
Yeah.
It makes me want to be a bit leery.
Especially the sound of it as well.
Because in the Giulio, it feels more like, Italian, they're going to thread it through the corners. Whilst this is just like, hey, Stelvio, mate, hey! Do you think there's some sheep on this road, so I can actually... I'm getting carried away. Whenever they say private road, I'm like, racetrack.
I'm like this. Yeah, it's okay. Well, carry on.
So what is it? I mean, I'm going to have to be honest. I don't like the interior.
The only thing I like about the interior on this car is the steering wheel.
Because it's the right size for you.
Basically, it's my size, but it looks cool.
The paddles are amazing.
Yeah, paddles are great.
But you get them across the entire range, Giulio and Stelvio range. They have definitely improved the looks of the infotainment system over the Giulio, but a lot of the rest of it is standard. And now, the price of this car, this particular car, 84 grand. 84 grand.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And when you start looking at the rivals, like a Merc GLC 63, a Macan, etc., etc., I think you get a slightly nicer interior environment.
Especially in the Mercedes.
It does look cool, though. It does look cool. It looks cool.
It does look cool, and it sounds cool.
But do you know what I mean? I know you've only spent you spent a few hours with it.
Yeah.
But there's something missing. Like, I think it's really cool.
Do you think it's from the performance or from the feeling of the car on the inside?
I think it's the feeling inside. Because the performance is nuts and brilliant, and because it's quite a small car, it does. Well, it does still feel nimble. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely still an SUV. You don't get in this and go, oh my god, it doesn't feel at all like an SUV. No. It's just a very quick SUV. But I personally would have the Giulia with a roof box every day, and I said that when I drove this car earlier in the year. Yeah. It's not enough over a Giulia. If anything, it's a little bit lacking in comparison to a Giulia.
Do you think?
I think so. People give me a really hard time for not considering this and really said, oh, it's the most obvious choice. You love Italian cars, you know, you love the Alfa brand. It's got a freaking Ferrari engine in it. It's four-wheel drive.
Sounds like your perfect car.
Sounds like my perfect car, but for some reason it's not.
But you are going to be spending a lot of time in your car. So if the reason why you don't like the car is because of the inside of it somehow, then maybe it's not the most perfect choice for you.
It's like that weird thing where, don't get me wrong, I think this is a brilliant car, and I think, like the Giulia, if you have always had the German counterpart, you have to consider this now. These cars are players in the market. No longer is it that quirky alternative that, you know, like, oh, who's going to buy that? These are genuinely amazing options in comparison to what the Germans are making. But for me, on a personal level, they don't quite cross that line of mass desirability. Even when I spent a week going back to the Giulia at the Mille Miglia in that Quadrifoglio, I was like, what a brilliant car, but I didn't leave wanting one.
Maybe that's just a personal choice, though.
I think it's a personal thing. I think it's, Emma, I think it's a personal thing. This road is super cool, by the way. I know I'm scaring you slightly, but like, talking at 100 miles an hour, driving at 3,000 miles an hour. Scotland is mega, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
I've forgotten.
I've never been here.
Shut up.
I've never been here.
You've never been to Scotland?
I've been to Edinburgh once for a day, but I've never been anywhere else. How bad is that?
That is awful, because look at this place.
It's gorgeous. My parents are Scottish, so that's actually quite even worse. I've not explored the loveliness of it.
How long have you been in the UK?
On and off for 6 years.
Oh, I'm embarrassed.
Oh, you're embarrassed?
I'm embarrassed for you. Because,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I've let you down. I'm so sorry.
We'll end this moment of me being sort of undecided or unknowledgeable about the Stelvio, and I will become Emma's tour guide of rural Scotland for a few hours.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, we'll catch you guys towards the end of this drive. Well, after what you might call quite a spirited drive, we are now back at the hotel, and the Stelvio is so damn impressive. I've forgotten how impressive it is, because you've got that sort of extra ground clearance and suspension travel. It's just so compliant on public roads. You can go so quick. If you were in a sort of lower slung sports car or even supercar that could do the same kind of speed, you have to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more thoughtful, because you don't want to hit a bump and upset something like that, whilst Stelvio just powers through and rolls around the road in a very nice and fast way. Anyway, as I mentioned, there's just something missing on a personal level that meant I didn't consider sort of ever really buying one. However, I would love to spend more time in one, and let's not forget, during Drive the World there'll be plenty of moments when the Carrera T will be on a ship being transported between countries, and I'll be flying in and out of places, borrowing cars locally, and the heroes at Alfa Romeo have already said they would love to try and get me in a Stelvio Quadrifolio in one of those countries I'm flying in and out of. So stay tuned, Alfa fans, do not worry, there is a chance that this car will feature more next year. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure to subscribe for plenty more videos to come.